Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this broadcast of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament. We've got a really exciting big race for you tonight. This is the last chance qualifier that takes place between the Swiss rounds and the playoffs. Ilmar's Mueller is joining me on chat. I'm Cheesinator. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what are the stakes of this race?
This is across 5 networks, 20 people, 1 person gets into the playoffs, into the play-in race. That's it. If you're looking to keep a track of this, we're going to do our best. You've got 4 people on our screen. You've got 4 on SG2,
right,
4 on
finally.
Randomania 1,
20 minutes
4
late.
on
Here we go,
Randomania 2,
people.
and also we have those on RPG Limit Break. So everybody is playing at the same time, and it's all going to be about who's going to come out in first place.
In seconds. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
So the action has started. We're off into Caneria Castle here, or Caneria Town rather, and at the level 1 white shop we don't see really much. It's a lot of... Oh, nuke level 1 though! So Jet Seed in the Black Magic, and it's a reroll for Greggly Puff.
Yes,
He's going Red
Greggly's
Mage
already
strats.
going. So here we go. As we were saying, this is all about one person. It's all about across all 5 channels. Who's the first person to cross the finish line? Reroll already. We've got a reroll from Cyranus as well. He saw that level 1 nuke. He wants it bad. 4 red mages all across the board.
Okay, so it's
Greggly.
back to week 1 Ishp and Maya strats for Greggly Puff at least. Ragnarok started with the 3 red mages. Guelph already had 2 reds and a black, maybe? I can't tell if that was a reroll. And 4 red mages for Cyranus too. How many people on the other channels are doing this too, I wonder? That's nutty.
Yeah, this is... Wow, everyone said that red is their way to go today, apparently. So here we go. We've got Ragnarok. First one going up to Temple of Fiends. Gonna check the chests first.
Yep, running into some creeps here. Wolves on the overworld, creeps on the overworld. Haven't seen any scripts from the enemies yet. Let's talk a little bit about what can happen in these flags. Of course, for people who haven't been following the tournament, we've had an elemental theme going on, and this one is a random element of the 4, which signifies where the incentive locations will be. Tonight we're in Sea Week again. Sea Week Revisited.
Yeah, so Sea Week, that means down in the Mermaids, where the slab would usually be the vanilla location. That is an incentivized location, so that's going to hold something. Maybe a key item that actually progresses the game, possibly one of our 3 quote-unquote bonk items that aren't there, that aren't key items, but those being the Power Glove, the Opal Bracelet, and the Thor's Hammer, which are in the incentive pool.
Let's see, ghouls have glare, and they had some kind of stunning hold on their first spell. So this early game here, where everyone's just piling into Temple of Fiends, is all been about turn order. Like, you get the nukes off, or do the enemies get their attacks off? But Ragnarok, first through Garland on our stream, gets the tail from the king, and is going to get the crown from Sarah. So that's an early fetch quest we can turn in. We have the ship, which means we can get down to Elfland area and go to the Northwest Castle.
Yep, we've got the ability to do that. However, he's going to make his way... Looks like he's going to go straight over to Provoca. He's going to go talk to Bicky and the pirates, see what they've got for him right now. Meanwhile, we've got Cyranus nuking down Garland, going to get hit their tail and crown. Greggly Puff still making his way through as well.
Yeah, and I like Greggly Puff here using one of those 2 free cabins. There were 2 cabins inside the Temple of Fiends, which is really convenient actually for the early game, because sometimes you don't find save items in shops, or they're very expensive. So just some safety in case things go horribly wrong and you've got to reset. Rag is already on the pirates, while the rest of the runners make their way through Garland.
So Greggly Puff's got his items. Guelph already got his items. He looks like he's going to be making his way to Provoca. And meanwhile, Ragnarok has just burnt down all of Bicky and his Buccaneers and got himself some Oxyale.
Okay, early Oxyale is really significant, like we said in these flags. That opens up access to Sea Shrine once we can get to the outer sea. So that'll depend on either finding the canal, which is loose and could still be in 5 non-marsh chests, or down in marsh caves somewhere, based on it not being in the Temple of Fiends. But we could also find canoe and floater still, you never know.
Yeah, that's right. So anyone who's unfamiliar with what we've been doing this whole time, life at level 2, which is huge, because that's red learnable, and judging by the amount of red mages we have, that's something great to see. But as I was saying, the flags, we've got 2.5 loose in this instance. One of the loose is the canoe, which is somewhere guaranteed to be within the inner sea, and 2 items that are completely loose. Could be anywhere, could be anything.
Oh man, and we've got level 2 life and walls, so these red mages have offense on the first slot, and then they've got a ton of defense. We're going to be just really safe while we cook things throughout this run.
Yeah, that's those are fantastic pickups. We've also saw, I think it was Lit 3 was also there as well at level 2 black, so some decent black magic checking in as well.
Yep, and a Sun
level
Sword in
2.
Matoya, so anyone who needs a red mage to do their physical offense already has that covered.
Second best sword that a fighter can swing outside of the mass, man. So we've also got Brack, a decent spell as well. A lot of people love to Bracken some Kraken. Not a bad idea if you're looking to deal with that.
So if they have decent levels, like if they get into maybe the teens by the time they're going to do that Sea Shrine dive, with Brack and Nuke and Life and all that stuff, they could probably one-shot the whole thing, like go Mermaids and then go left side.
Yeah, at this point, I think the biggest thing that everyone's going to be looking for is probably temper or fast, and then also some sort of transportation, whether that be warp or exit to help. Those are probably the big things at this point that our runners are looking for in terms of magic. So Guelph on his screen picking up his Oxyale, probably pondering, oh boy, am I going to have to make an early play down to C? Meanwhile, Cyrnus making his way over to Matoya, going to pick up that Sun Sword as well. An interesting play here by Ragnarok. He's been grinding outside of it, getting money, because he does not want to come back to Provoca at all. He's picking
delay here on my end, but looks like we're
There we
back
go.
live. So one challenge is going to be picking all the best spells there at level 2, because there's 2 things we want in the black shop, 2 things we want in the white shop. I think Wall and Break are probably both the least valuable of that set, so you probably go Lit 3 Life, and then you do like 2 breaks and 2 walls, or maybe 1 break, 1... Well, it depends, of course, on how many red mages you have, but you probably want at least 2 breaks for Kraken and Tiamat, and then at least 1 wall caster.
Yeah, if you've got 1 wall caster that someone probably going to throw in your 4th slot, they'll be able to, in case we can't find any ribbons as we go, it'll be very useful to have that. Both Greatly Puff and Cyrnus picking up and both noping out of that Sun Sword. Interesting. I guess they're valuing Nuke more than ever trying to swing anything.
Yeah, it's true that most of the time your red mages will be casting, but there'll be those fights where you have like 1 enemy and it's unrunnable, and you just want to save the charge and knock it out with a Sun Sword. Resource conservation will still be important. I know level 1 nuke means a lot of charges, but if you're going through a long dungeon and you want to get through it in 1 shot, it can sometimes be very important to just be able to pass through a fight without using any.
I think it doesn't matter what it is, especially come towards the end game when we're talking Topher. You're still going to need someone to swing a sword at some point. You can't just hope on nuking everything. And the downside of having all these red mages is red mages aren't the best at getting away from things. There could be time where you're going to be forced, even not technical unrunnables, you're going to be forced to take fights that you might not want to because your run chance just isn't the best. And speaking of magic that we needed, there's exit red learnable level 3.
Yeah. Now, 4 red mages is a good meme, and like we've all seen what it can do in a seed that rolls very correctly with sort of the low HP Temple of Fiends you visited, all that stuff. But I think if you're doing a reroll on something like this and you want sort of a more surefire party to lock in a finish, I probably would have gone like fighter double red black, so you have a little bit of run chance. You still get 3 nukes, and you have a physical carry in case you've got like a 2300 HP Tiamat into a 3500 HP Chaos or something.
Yeah, you're really going to be banking that the Final Fiends are not going to have the HP, because being able to nuke everything down just doesn't seem realistic if things start rolling high on HP in Temple of Fiends. And outside of getting what we need from the crown, we've seen every single chest. So if this crown, we're going to see it first get turned in on Cyranus' side here. If that doesn't turn into anything special, we're going to need to go to Marsh.
Now I like a lot of different approaches to a race like this, where it's like one person out of all this, winner take all. On one hand, you can take a black belt and say, if there are seeds where it is exactly something that you need a black belt for, I put myself in the best position to win. But if you are taking, especially with that level 1 nuke, if you're saying this is a low roll seed and everyone is going to be jetting through it, then my best chance to win is the 4 red mages casting 36 nukes. By the way, we got an herb off of the kindly old evil king.
Back down to Elfland we go. We're going to see what that turns into. Yet again, the question of do we have to go Marsh has not yet been answered. So very important to note, level 4 black magic, fast, temper, and ice 3, all available in black. That's a big level for magic. There's all your big endgame buff.
Yep. It does make anyone with a black mage slightly luckier in that they'll start getting access to the extra charges of that first and have more kind of total in the late game. Oof, Chime. Okay, Chime doesn't get us anywhere, so we are still stuck in the inner sea, and we're going to need a Dark Mark.
This has now just confirmed itself to be a Marsh seed.
So I actually like Guelph's party best here, given what we've seen so far, because it looks like we'll never need to promote. We've got all the magic we could ever need. Early game, late game, buffs, safety, we've got life, we've got wall. So without worrying about gear, we've got all the magic we need. All we need to do is like have some nukes support that black belt, just even get it into the 20s. Give somebody you can fast and you can throw a temper stack on, because like a fasted level 24 black belt doesn't even need a piece of gear, and it can do, thousands of damage with a temper stack or 2.
Yeah, and if you find a grind tile anywhere in here, and I know that becomes very contentious, do you even spend the time? Do you want to spend time grinding? But even spending 10 minutes, not even, getting to a 32 black belt, if you find a good 3-eye grind tile, Gurmedusa tile, especially if you have a mage stick or something like that, getting that black belt to 32 is almost everything you would possibly need outside of an awful Topher.
It's all a guess on what the win condition will be. But we got a ribbon in one of the link chests here. Good check by Gregly Puff. So he's going straight down to the bottom of Marsh, checked one of the link chests for the top, got a ribbon out of it, so that's going to keep at least one of his red mages safe while they go down here and risk all the scary spells and scripts.
Yeah, that's really big, and that also makes it, if he hasn't completely filled out that level 2 magic, I'm not sure. We've got a Canal top side. Canal top side Marsh was just picked up on Ragnarok side.
Yeah, so the Canal being in the top, not in one of the link chests, I believe, so people are going to have to go back to the top if they went bottom
No,
first.
it was not. It was in the top, it was in the very first room, that top right room.
Yeah, it's the left 2 that are the linked.
Yeah, it's the bottom one with the 2 chests that has the linked chest for it.
Yeah, so we got Hydras here on the spike tile. The spike tiles are random on the B-side formations of the game. So there can be some formations that you don't see the vanilla copies of, or rather you don't see in vanilla. Just a cabin though. So if bottom of Marsh doesn't pay off for Gregly, then going top is going to be the surefire play for most people, because you get the ribbon, you get the Canal, you only have to check 4 chests and you're out.
Yeah,
but speaking of getting out, Guelph already wiped once.
So did Ragnarok, and I missed what though. Something that killed them both very quickly. Ragnarok is now just re-picking up his Canal.
So we got some questions in chat about what the scaling in this randomizer and in these flags means. So we've got enemy stats are scaled up to 200%, but as low as 50%, and that can be on HP, attack, defense, evade, and I believe that's it. And the money in the game is scaled so that the experience and money scaling kind of slides down prices and slides down the money that enemies give you, but you get 2 times, like it takes half as much to level up. And then you get bonus experience per key item. So each one of these key items is going to add 5% to the total golden experience that you get from a fight.
Yeah, so anybody who's looking to do a grind, you're looking at doing that a little bit later because, as you said, getting those key items gives you that experience boost, makes you get more experience, gets you those levels a little bit quicker.
Oof, the Mucks have Blizzard.
So, Guelph is out. He got his canal, he exited out, and he's going. Meanwhile, Ragnarok coming down to the bottom side of Marsh here to check things out. Greatly Puff checked all the chests, and we didn't see anything special on bottom Marsh.
Mm-hmm. And so Guelph also passing by Melmond, there's not really anything to do over there. You're not really in a position to get level 5 magic yet, and you don't have a slab to translate or anything. Oh, actually, he's making his way back. So scratch my thought. He's headed to Earth. So there are a lot of possible plays to make in a seed like this. You're against 20 people. There are probably going to be gambles made by every runner, including anyone who went Marsh Bottom. That's already a gamble, right? You want to find some edge in some unique, uncommonly checked corner of the world that'll get you ahead.
Grind tile checking right now.
Exactly, grind tiles for that black belt.
I think his thought process right here is if I can get a grind tile and I can get that black belt, well, it's dead already. But the thought was, if you can get that black belt already up to a good position, then you're going to be able to steamroll through the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. Guelph, oh my goodness, Guelph was not doing saving hygiene well enough and ended up all the way back at Elfland there on a reset. So either hasn't been buying save items or bought them but was unwilling to use them. Did pass by Melmond and didn't even bother to check in the inn. So gotta make sure not to make that mistake again if he doesn't want to bleed time.
This is one where your nerves are probably going to be shaking at every decision you make, and I don't blame you for 1 second. This is all about making sure you can stay mentally focused, stay on your game. I know this is a thing where you're playing against 19 other runners, but I think the best advice anyone could be given in this is you have a game plan, stick to it, go with it, and just hope the dice roll and land in your favor. You can't be making... On Gregory Puff's side, we see a very angry Gregory Puff showing his ribbon was equipped as his one ribbon wearer got squinted through it.
Oh no. Yeah, that's that old 3 in 256 chance. For those who are unfamiliar, there is a small percentage chance that ribbons and other elemental resistances will not be perfect. It occasionally happens. You see enough casts of enough things over the course of a tournament that eventually there will be a couple. It's happened to me, it's happened to others.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. We're just about to see here on Guelph's side, Guelph's gone all the way here, and he's got the ruby from the Circle of Sages at Crescent. So that opens up
really
two.
promising.
That opens up 2 more loose items. We still don't have the canoe, so outside of those 2 and, turning in that Oxyale, that's all we've got right now.
Yeah, we can also check the Sky, or I guess not Sky, but rather the Mirage Tower, the bottom of Sky, for loose items. There are 18 chests up there.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, and we got a rod at the shop in Crescent Lake, too.
Oh, excellent.
So Earth is full clearable for anyone who really wants to gamble. And that is the theme of the tournament, right? It's like,
this is
in a 1v1... Yeah, the strats in 1v1 are so different, right? Like, you have to know what you're getting into in a 1v1 when you gamble on a place that's not incentivized, but in a big race like this, just like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, right? If you go to Earth Cave and you come out, maybe not with an incentive item, but you come out with like the Maza and another ribbon or something, and then everyone else is like wiping in TOFR because you're the only one who had like the offense to power through it, like that could be huge.
Yeah, everything that you can get, any advantage that you can get, any little thing would be absolutely big. Speaking of gambles, Cyrnus has just absolutely gone through everything, said, I don't even care about Crescent. I am going straight with my Oxtail. I'm checking out that chest in Mermaids.
Yep. Greg Lipoff had a decent amount of money saved up. Went and bought that 6.3k temper already. Maybe not the best use of magic or of money early, given that he still hasn't found the shop item. Temper is something you can come back for in the late game, but fast is certainly a fine early pickup. Though maybe not with a full red party.
Yeah,
oh, right, and I didn't even notice we have Exit that was red learnable at 3. Like they blitzed through Elfland so fast. So we actually, that means people like Cyrnus doing these dives into mermaids or other dungeons where you have to go in a couple floors. That's super low risk.
Yeah, that's having that early. Yeah, I know. It is one of the things we had pointed out, but of course, we're each going to be tripping over each other here, I think, with 4 screens trying to keep on top of everything, my friend.
Yeah. I think it's the combination of having 4 screens, the late start, and then the fact that there's just so much madness in the broader picture going on for this particular week in this race and the stakes. Ghosts encountered for Cyrnus, those always hit hard. Even if you have chain armor, you're not going to be having fun, so gets nuke turn order though.
Yeah, able to take those out. I think it was Guelph ended up buying over at Crescent, ended up buying silver, or somebody ended up buying a full complement of silver bracelets for everyone, so they must have been rather cheap. That someone got through all of them.
Alright, so our first big pack of chest opening in a while here is Cyrnus on the Mermaids floor. This is about 12 or so treasure chests, maybe 13. It's a lot here, and it's free steps. There are no encounters on this floor. So first of all, the incentive is the Adamant, so we don't know if it's good enough yet. We're going to end up sailing all the way back to the Inner Sea for that, so maybe stop at Crescent first to see if you can rope in another fetch quest before going back to the Inner Sea.
Yeah, that's probably the only play at this point. We do know that the Ruby is over there, so that'll open up a couple other options for them once they make their way over.
Yep, there was also a Pro Ring there, but we can find those in shops. Guelph is in the Titan's Trove, which is an incentive location on these flags. The Titan's Trove itself often will have a piece of gear just based on how the numbers of how the seeds roll, but Sarda likely to have a key item.
So nothing special coming outside of that Adamant on Mermaids. Pro Ring was probably the next best find we had out of there. And there's our canoe coming out of Titans.
Okay, so no matter what, you're going to need the Ruby to get that canoe, because even if someone gets floater elsewhere, they're not going to be able to get airborne and go in any other direction. You need to walk over to get that canoe.
Yeah, is Cyrnus making a left side play here?
I don't know how deep the commitment is going to be. This might be just to check chests, or this might just be this floor's chest. Because I think the levels here are a little bit too low to commit to fully getting Kraken killed and all that. By the way, Greg Lipoff following suit, he's going to come to that Adamant, which we're hoping, I guess for both of their sakes, that it's required.
And Sarda gives us the crystal on Guelph's side, so one of the items being the canoe out of Titans, very, very much needed. Whether that crystal is or not, we're going to have to wait a minute and see.
Yeah, so a lot of excitement pending what the Adamant and Crystal turn into. Meanwhile, as far as the action goes, Cyrnus hasn't left the Sea Shrine yet. If this is a full left play at these levels, I get it with the nukes and the breaks, but it seems still very risky. I would even maybe exit from this floor after getting these fights and these couple of magic charges, save up and come back in with 200 HP, full nukes, full at 3s, full breaks, and see what you can accomplish.
Not only that, I've been trying my darndest between everybody to track this encounter table, and it looks like there is a spot where Cyrnus just hit 4 encounters in about 12 steps. So
Ouch.
They would have just gotten through that big run of encounters. So if there was ever a time you might want to jump out to restart that run, it might be now.
Yeah, and Cyranus is showing us the big risk of Sea Shrine isn't so much the scripts enemies will roll, that happens in every dungeon, but Sea Shrine is full of lobsters and ghosts, and they both hit really, really hard,
Nobody
especially
likes
through
lobsters.
no or little early game armor. So, I mean, yes, he's got a good heal pot supply, but the healing is going to be slow. With just life 1 and not life 2 or cure 4, heal 3 or anything like that, we're going to be spending a lot of time in this menu, so he's got to really think that this is the gamble he's staking his whole run on.
So we did just see Life 2. It was brought up. Life 2 was slot 1, level 6.
TNT
Impressive.
picked up from Matoya there for Guelph off the crystal from Sarda. Took a moment to notate that and is headed off. So we'll have one more fetch quest. If anything, this is good for Guelph to get all these fetch quests just because it'll pile up the experience gain for that black belt.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the learnable tables at this point, but first slot white level 6.
Yeah, first slot white 6 is never red.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So they're not getting Life 2 then.
The always, at least on these flags, unrunnable Sahag pack just here to drain your charges. At least we have all those lit 3s.
Yeah, there's at least some good black magic kicking around, even if it's not at nuke 6, we got a lit 2 at level 2, so that can go through sentries, hitting hard, taking down one of Cyranus' ready.
Yep. Now life shares a slot with lit 3, so every time you res someone, you drop a lit 3 charge. That's what I was saying, is like those resources might get strained thin, even playing, as conservatively as possible here going through the shrine. And also Cyranus was one of the people that reset the Sun Sword, right?
Yes, they did reset Sun Sword, and the other thing too that I find interesting about this play and it being a little bit of a gamble is the fact that you're clearing left side, but you're not full clearing left side. So you're orphaning. He's orphaned a few chests, like the ones on this floor that he just passed on the south side of the floor, because he wants to ensure that he's got the charges to take out Kraken here. So, boy oh boy.
Yep. Now there's Cyranus getting the business here. There are good and bad practices for like playing safe and thorough and rando and all that we've talked about a little bit. Essentially, when it comes to a race like this against so many people, you just need the exact seed for the way you play. So you just need to say, every play I make, I'm going to stick to it, commit to it. Cyranus is saying the play is get Sea Shrine done in one go, early in the game, get it out of the way, and whatever I skip is not something important, right? Like everyone has to tell themselves that, because that's your only chance to win, is the exact plays that you made being the right ones.
And while all that was going on and we were looking, we saw TNT turned into the floater. So the canoe coming out of Titan's Trove, and then floater coming out from the fetch quest given by Sarda. So Guelph is going to be up in the air here very, very soon.
Yeah, so this isn't the jettiest seed in terms of early progression. You did have to follow a lot of fetches to get to the floater, but it was all overworld traversal, which you can speed up through encounter manipulation. There was no dungeon diving after Marsh required for getting in the air, so it's going to be an early everything, frankly. And with all the magic and stuff already, I would count this as probably like an 80% jet seed. And we got Cyranus on Kraken at the 27-minute mark, which is so early.
Here we go.
Oof. Oh.
Damage poison.
Oh my goodness, this damage poison doesn't kill anyone! Everyone's up! And that first nuke rolled so high, there was 2 nukes!
That's
720 or something damage between 2 nukes. It's enough to take down a low roll Kraken.
Oof. Huge gamble by Cyranus pays off big. Yeah. First orb lit at the 27 minutes. Very nice job by Cyranus.
Oh, but the loose key! Oh,
we said
Cyranus skipped that, and Gregory Puff just got the loose key full steer clearing left side. Anyone who just goes mermaids and then gets in the air later is just gonna last location that.
Yeah, that's huge. And like we were saying, I had even said, boy oh boy, it's very rare that when you're gonna clear left side, you're not full clearing left side, and boom.
That is
That's
the
what
kind of
happens.
Oh my god. So not only we were talking about it being risky to do left side at all to begin with here, and then Cyranus did the half risk play of like not committing because of the resource constraints, and Puff decides to just go full on. He did come in here with higher HP totals, I think. Clears, gets the key. So if you're talking about things that can get you ahead of 19 other runners or 17 other runners, I think a couple people couldn't make it today. That is one of the things that might put you in first place.
Yeah, picking up that key, saying, you know what, I'm gonna go Oxyel, I'm gonna get this Oxyel. It's telling me I gotta go C, but not even just saying I'm gonna go clear this. I am going to full clear this. I'm gonna make sure if I'm doing this, I'm doing it once, and I'm doing it all the way through. That is a big pickup for Gregory.
Yep. I'm looking at our master sheet. Nobody else on any of the other streams has the key except Gregory Buff. Wow.
That's massive. That could literally be one of the things that takes it for him, was saying, I'm doing this early and I'm getting it right away, and full clearing the side.
Yep. We got Guelph is back in Earth. Let me see if he was on these spike tiles. He's healing up. He's got one dead member. Probably trying to kill off. Oh, he's got rock goals. Okay. So rock goals with nuke. That's a pretty farmable fight. You're going to have to watch out for your HP. The Rockles did roll somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 though, and we're not even getting experience on the black belt this fight, so this might actually not be the best one to take, but it was close, right?
Yeah, it's that's one I think at this point. Don't waste your time on this grind style.
Yep.
There's too much HP on them. If you can one-shot them and they're hitting too hard, you can't afford to be burning time on them, I think.
Yep. Ragnarok is the first one in the air on our stream. He just went to the Ryokan Desert at the 30-minute mark. He's taken his. Oh, that's right. Sorry, Guelph has just been spending so much time in Earth, I forgot he was already airborne. But Ragnarok is following suit in the air. He's gone to the volcano first, which is certainly a solid play. There's a lot of chests here, easily accessible right on the top, and a way for you to grab some loose items as well as gear. And he's going to be gear dependent on that fighter. That fighter, Ribbon and Sunsword and Fast and Temper, you've got most of the things you need, but you're probably looking for a little bit better in the weapon department.
Well, no one's ever going to say no to a Masa if they find it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so I guess the respective benchmarks here. Cyranus has an orb that Puff should get soon unless the damage poison comes out and rolls high on his whole party. Puff has the loose key. Guelph and Ragnarok are in the air. And key items mostly looking similar, except it seems Ragnarok hasn't bought his rod yet. Or Puff, because Puff just hasn't even been there.
Greg's going full Brack.
Oh man, if only he knew this Kraken rolled low. If all these Bracks miss, this could be just catastrophic. That's 3 misses in the first round so far. He's got to be sweating a little bit. This is a 25% chance, so we expect one of these in the next round to hit just based on averages.
Yeah, statistically, there it goes.
There it goes, with the 4th one. So Puff lights his first orb at the 31-minute mark.
Yeah. So we've got some Bracken of the Kraken life reboots. Gregory skipped the chest and C behind Sharknado. We know that was not the chest that was important. The chest that Gregory didn't skip was on the southeast side, the bottom right part of that floor. That's where we found that loose key.
Yep. Guelph, having a hard time keeping that black belt up. I think you need to put the black belt in the back row. Have your red mages tank for you while you get those nukes off, because the most important character to funnel experience on, if this is your strategy, is the black belt.
Yeah, he can't be eating punches and going down accidentally. You need him to stay alive if the plan is to keep him up.
Crabcakes in chat about the loose items. No, we've only seen the key as a loose item so far on our stream. I don't know about the other ones yet, but Oxyale came off of Bicky.
Yeah, Oxyale was Bick. Bicky, whatever you want to call him. Pirate dude.
Yep. Rag in the shop gets his rod as well as a ton of houses. Just stack them up, right? You don't have anything else really to spend money on.
I mean, we've seen pretty much all the magic that you want to see at this point.
Warp is promotion locked, but with exit
Yeah.
already in hand, I think we're good to go. Heal 3 is a white locked slot. Promotion locked Invis 2 there at level 5 for red.
Oh, poor Cyranus. Indeed, life reboot. That was a play that seemed so fantastic and felt like was going to get them so far ahead. And one little non-check could be a long time before they come back to find that loose key.
Space Drake in chat talking a little bit about grind strats for Guelph. If Guelph is going to grind a solo black belt, that is not the tile. You don't want to put a black belt up in front of possibly 4 rock goals that can 1 or 2 round you while you're trying to punch them one at a time. But it's a good team grind. And like I was saying earlier, with this kind of magic layout, it's not necessarily important to get a monstrous black belt to a big level break point. You just want it to be hitting at least 6 times. If you can get into the 20s, then a fast and a temper or something, and it's doing like fighter with Maza damage plus, you're in good shape. So nobody needs to commit to a solo grind, I think, if they want to play a black belt but also play fast. What you're speeding up is you're skipping promotion and you're skipping needing something like a Masa.
Speaking of promotion, Ragnarok has talked to Bahamut, turned in his papers, and we've got a knight on his side. Haven't found anything big for them to swing at this point in time, but as soon as Ragnarok's able to find it, that knight will be able to equip it.
Yep, and he's got his custom sprites there. His cloud just morphed into a slightly more adult-looking cloud, while the red mages who were, I want to say regular Terra, just turned into what's the word? Esper Terra.
Esper Terra, yeah. Alright, so this is going on. Gregory Puff is now going to pick up his ruby. He's, in a good position, but he's probably going to be the last one into the air out of all of this from everyone. So, he's going to have that edge in terms of getting, having that great find with the key, but he might be one of the last ones who's getting up into the air, not following what would have been a fairly easy and obvious pickup from going from Ruby to then going to both Sarda and Titan.
Yeah, the big thing though about not getting into the air, like he got C full cleared out, got the key item, both key items rather. The thing about doing it then and then getting into the air is he's not going to be distracted by like, oh, I'm in the air, I need to go visit every other dungeon that I can and spend all this time looking through boxes that might not be important, right? As far as go mode, we need a loot and we need a cube, I want to say. So those things are out there somewhere. If they're at something like Ordeal's Waterfall or Ordeal's Ice, then Gregory Puff, he's just going to be able to skip so many other things that people get distracted by before they prioritize Sea Shrine. And
I just took another look at the full master sheet here. Gregory Puff, at this point, still 36 and a half minutes in, only person to have found that loose key so far.
Yep. By the way, Ordeals will have our loot looking on the master sheet, so whoever prioritizes Ordeals is going to get into go mode quite quickly. What else do we need? The cube. I don't see a cube found yet.
Ooh, so that's making me think it's either slab or that's going to be, either slab or a bottle turn-in or something to that effect. Or, unfortunately, our other loose.
Alright, we're going to see our first check of the robot here. Ragnarok is in Waterfall. Gregory, a little bit late to that canoe, but like we said, not too worried as long as he's being thorough about his incentive checks. He maintains something of a knowledge and exploration lead with that loose item. Red D! Oh wow, if these things roll low, this is an enormous experience tile. Though Ragnarok's party doesn't need a big stationary grind because of its makeup with that fighter, it's still something that you might want to kill a few times to get into the 20s. Cyranus on the Earthful clear plan. If there's a loose cube, then this is the play.
X-Cal pickup for Cyranus, which is going to do nothing for them, not rolling anything but reds.
All right, with the robot and Waterfall handing out the opal bracelet, that makes Waterfall a bit of a dud other than that grind tile. So what does that leave? Does that leave ice for cube or loose? I don't know if anyone's seen the ice chest yet.
Have we had a bottle? I don't know. Did we turn it in yet? I know we've
That's a
seen
good point.
bottle.
Yeah, bottle and slab in these flags tend to go to pieces of gear, just percentages wise. So I'm guessing that bottle is probably not going to yield our cube.
Right.
For people wondering about those stats, we had one of the developers behind the scenes roll like 1 million seeds, literally 1 million seeds on these flags, and post out a spreadsheet of item layouts. And we actually know by percentages how certain things roll, and it's because the way the randomizer places items, it just places them randomly and then checks if the seed is completable. And you're going to get more completable seeds where gear rolled behind the floater.
Yeah, it's just because it just the weird way that it does sanity checks, and also when you think about it logically, it is very possible for seeds to not require floater whatsoever to be finished. So anything that's sort of superfluous can be sent over in those directions.
All right, I'm hearing a slab came out of ice, so that could, I mean, we don't know yet. We either could have a loose cube, which would make it anyone's game and put everyone, including Greglipuff, back in the blender, or it could be our cube.
So here on our team side, if you will, our channel side, we've got Greglipuff is making his way. I'm assuming going towards that TNT or the crystal to TNT turn in. We've got Guelph, who looks like they're going to be diving into C. Ragnarok is currently in C, and Cyranus is taking care of full clear on Earth.
Okay, so if both Guelph and Ragnarok full clear C, they're in position to get their key, and the only, I guess, setback is the late timing to it, especially if, say, another required loose item ends up behind key locks and Greglipuff is able to check them well in advance.
Yeah, those key locks could, obviously we haven't seen anything at this point in time yet, so could be something that we be very interesting to find, you know. So hopefully he can find some gear for himself, or potentially even that second loose. At least give some more information as to what's what.
So as a quick reminder, we've got, I believe, 18 people running, and those who are tuned in here on Speed Gaming 1, you can also check out Speed Gaming 2, Randomania 1, Randomania 2, and RPG Limit Break for all the action. This is the biggest race by number of players of the spring tournament for Final Fantasy Randomizer, and the highest stakes because only one out of those people will advance.
Yeah, this is where you have to just put your plan in place, go for it, and at the end of the day, too, hope that you get a little lucky, because when you're playing against, there are a lot of really skilled runners who I'm sure a lot of people are shocked to see who finished 3-3. But that's just because there were that many good runners, period, in the tournament, that there were going to be a lot of good runners just who had to finish 3-3. So, you know, there are a lot of people on pretty much every channel. There are 2 or 3 people that you would not be surprised whatsoever if they were the one to come out of this.
Cyranus going through is past the vampire in the Earth Cave and checking what would be incentive chest in Earth Week, and is just kind of getting zapped down by wolves and things. Nothing too exciting in Earth so far besides that Excalibur we saw.
Yeah, and the only person who will be excited to see that is going to be Rags, or the only person who brought a fighter who's already a knight who would be able to swing it. And on Puff's side, he's turned in both that Adamant and that TNT to get their bottle and floater, and we're going to get a first check here on Gregory Puff's side. We're going to see what's in these key locks. Absolutely nothing but money.
Alright, so now that a couple of keys are trickling in off stream, let's talk about like where Cyranus and Greglipuff are at. I think what actually happened, rather than Greglipuff getting an enormous advantage above the whole field, he's going to keep pace with the top tier of runners who have that one required loose item information, while Cyranus, by doing that skip, probably put himself towards the back of the pack, unfortunately. Ooh, and I like this situation here. Guelph is down to 2 characters, but one of those characters is stoned, and if I'm him, I just leave that one stoned for a while, because if you funnel a bunch of experience onto the black belt here by running 2 characters, but if you ever need an emergency life cast or an emergency exit or anything like that, you just unstone the 3rd red mage, or 2nd red mage.
Yeah, as long as your black belt makes it out, you've got a soft, you've got exit and the ability to take care of anything that comes your way.
Alright, Gregley's stocking up on pro rings. That'll be 8 absorb and death protection in the wrist slot, or like hand slot, I guess, for characters who equip it. All classes can equip pro rings.
Best thing you can put on anyone's hands. Yeah, some people say power bunk, but I mean defensively and, actually having total versatility when you're not having somebody who's got a mass at this point in time. Power bunk, not the biggest deal.
Okay, so Gregley is here to turn in this bottle, and this will actually be the first bottle turn-in we've seen, which is shocking given that, people got in the air when they did. Oh, and it's the power gauntlet. So, kind of as expected, more gear from the fairy.
Blink and you miss it on Cyranus' side. There was some sort of fiend with a cloak or something. I'm not too sure, but they're gone. 2 orbs down for Cyranus at 4440.
Yeah, so Cyranus orb lead, not in the air though. But, Final Fantasy Randomizer comes in a lot of flavors, and there are full clear flavor seeds where, like, the loose cube ends up trolling everyone and it's in Marsh locked, and so people, go to all dungeons and double dip some of them anyways. So Cyranus not out of it yet, as long as he's making progress towards the end of the game, not having major setbacks.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation for them because they're in a good position, 2 orbs down, but boy, one of the orphan chests that they had was really unfortunate, leading to that key.
Question in chat, where was Floater found? Floater came off of a fetch quest chain. I believe Sarda had the crystal, which went to a TNT at Matoya, and that TNT turned into the floater.
Correct. Couldn't have said it better myself, cheese.
Yes. So we got Gregley Puff making the ordeals play. That's good for him. This will lead to a required loot. So he doesn't know it, but he's making the correct call to start out between these various incentive dungeons.
So that leaves either Thorhammer loose or Cube loose, judging by everything that we've seen so far.
And people hate turning in the slab for a lot of reasons. It's a lot of flying, it's a lot of walking, and if you get nothing out of it, you would feel especially bad for having made the trip. Plus the fact that Thorhammer ends up in that location so often. I think people are probably a little hesitant, oh, do I want to be the one who makes the risk and loses 3 minutes getting a Thorhammer? So people might be prioritizing the incentive dungeons over it.
Which makes sense. On Ragnarok's side, he did clear out that bottom side of Sharknado and picked up his key, so that's a big pickup for him. He's not going to be orphaning that.
That's good. Yeah, I think you go to most dungeons in full clear mode once you're at this stage of the game anyways, if you haven't found loose yet, whereas Cyranus was in the early stages, and because of how aggressively he pushed and gambled, he couldn't afford to full clear, so he just had to kind of flip the coin and hope it came up heads.
And that's why it was interesting that when Gregley Puff made that play, he took a little bit of extra time on the right side, got a couple of levels, backed out, restocked, and was able to do a full clear on that side, and that might be something that gives him the edge over everybody. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, there are a few people who have found that key across the board, so I don't think anyone's found second loose yet, though.
Yeah, the trolliest, or probably second trolliest location for it after Marsh Helok, which is just the ultimate, right? That trumps everything, would be in Mirage Tower, specifically Mirage 2, which is even harder to reach. We had Gregley Puff in his Week 1 matchup versus Dark Moon, went to Sky first and found the loose cube there, so he got way ahead when nobody even expected it. So we know Gregglypuff is liable to make the early Mirage play, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, boy, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. So we do know that Slab's gonna come out of ice. I don't see what that turns into. So that Slab's either going, like we said, is either going to Chime or it's going to Thor, leaving the other one loose. I think that's all that's left.
Yeah, Crabcakes in chat, by the way, one of our veteran runners and the 2019 Spring Tournament champion, points out that actually in this specific seed, the TFC, or that friendly chest in Sea Shrine right side that is key locked, would be the worst spot because people have already full cleared or mostly cleared C and orphaned it because the left side had the key. So they'll probably be back down to the bottom of Marsh before they ever go back to that, if that were a loose item.
There's the dream, people. There's the dream. So Greggly finished out Ordeals. He's got himself a loot. He's just missing Cube for Go mode at this point. So I'm going to bet, given what he's been doing, he's going to be looking to do the... that he's going to be looking to do Ice. He's been clearing incentives at this point. Meanwhile, Ragnarok takes out that absolute paper crack, and a couple of nukes, down they go. He's got his orb lit at the 4940 mark, and also able to pick up that key, so that's big.
Yep. Cyrus about to get the information that the Power Gauntlet is on the ferry, and that you have your princess of a cube is in some other castle.
That's it, yeah. That is what everybody... well, Gregglypuff is only that away from Go mode. Cyrus, unfortunately, missing that one chest, is both a key loot and cube away. Whereas Ragnarok, he's now making his way to Ordeals, so he's going to pick up that loot, and he's going to be just one away. And as we say, this Guelph picks up their cube from the bottom of C as well, so this is really going to come down to what's that Slab from Ice turns into. Are we going to have a big look around, or are we going to be getting into Go mode right once that Slab gets translated?
The inconvenient things. So, Warp would only be available to anyone who promoted, and a couple people have. Cyrus looks like has a full party of Red Wizards, and I see Ragnarok, of course, a while ago he promoted. Warp makes Ice Cave a lot faster if you're trying to get in and out of there. You know, get that slab and check what it is. And I would be inclined in a race like this where I'm betting that like the one loose item I got was enough, and I just need to see the result of this fetch quest. I'd probably be booking it out of there and hopefully promoting getting Warp to do so beforehand.
Speaking of which, Gregglypuff has now done that. Now we do know, however, though, by looking at the tracker sheet spoilers, people, you're going to hear a lot of them from us talking about other races and stuff too. There is a Masa down in Ice. I don't know if it's in those 3 chests or not, that are those 2 chests surrounding the incentive chest or not, but there is a Masa somewhere in Ice as well. So that's something that no one's going to want to end up skipping.
Man, so we know that there are people out there who have the slab from Ice, but nobody's doing Lefane, and it's just like, I'm sweating. I just want to know what that is. Gregglypuff making his second trip to this continent over here. He's going to do the waterfall play. Unfortunately, he'll just get a shiny bracelet, which, you know, it's good endgame armor, and maybe you put that on your front character when you've got to try and tank a hit from Kraken too. Not that it'll make that much difference, but yeah, ultimately this is going to be a dead end for him.
Yeah, I'm looking across that Lefane on the sheet, and I don't see anything marked off for either Slab, or pardon me, either for Cube or Thor's Hammer, so no one has done that turn in yet.
Yeah, so Ganon's Gone Wild pointing out that Ragnarok does have a lot of levels compared to our other people on this stream, and that's because of that red dragon tile, which is just one of the highest yields in the whole game, was here in Waterfall, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Gregglypuff takes a couple fights on it before exiting, just because it's like, it's so valuable, it's so worth the time, because then you can start skipping lesser valued fights later.
And Gregglypuff is not one to shy away from a grind, being someone who runs black belts. all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me if he decides to burn off all the charges that he's got before jumping out, and then be in a position where he feels comfortable to run through everything.
Yeah, with 4 red mages, the threshold you want to hit, and it's not too hard, you need to get to high 20s. By the way, Ragnarok picks up his loot for more deals. You want to get to the high level 20s so that you can get 400 HP. If your characters are all 400 HP, even the highest roll of nuke from the Fiend Revisited fights cannot kill you. Which means you live to fight another day and hopefully, cast them down and then and revive your characters afterwards.
I didn't notice this about those red Ds either, but their paper, a 148 just took them out as well.
Oh, Gregley, this is Gregley's sticking with the walking grind, which honestly, with a party of 4 red mages, I don't disagree with.
You're nuking most of anything. You've still got all of Sky as well.
Yep, totally. If they end up having to full clear Mirage for that cube, in addition to the other dungeons, yeah. By the way, we do have Guelph on Kraken, who brought up the Black Mage there on bottom for some extra nuking power. There's a good roll for 392. The Black Belt hits 6 hits, 210. That's not bad. That's what you bring that Black Belt for. And a 356 nuke from the Red Mage finishes it off. So Guelph, the latest to light the first orb here on this stream, and finish Sea Shrine off at 54 minutes, but still making good progress. And, Black Belt, that's an ace in the whole strategy if things don't go well for everyone else.
Yeah, there are so many what ifs and stuff at this point, but black belts are one of those things that, yes, they take a little more time. You're never going to run a sub-hour seed. You're never going to run probably a 115 very commonly with a black belt. But running a 130 very, very consistently, if the seed dictates that and says, there are some tough bosses, that 130 would be enough and could be the thing that puts you over the edge.
Yeah, black belts are all about lowering that variance, smoothing out your times, and bringing them within a smaller band, saying, I will definitely, or almost definitely one-shot the end game. You're probably 95% to get through your first TOFR dive with a 32-plus black belt and the proper support.
I would argue they most definitely have the proper support at this point in time.
Yeah, in this case, the magic and the gear are all very friendly. A 32 black belt can definitely fail if it just has a cast of ragtag characters who aren't really helping. But either way, that's Guelph's slight advantage if it comes to that. And we got Gregley finally making the play into Ice Cave, first one that we've seen on our stream.
Yeah. And also, I just noticed on Guelph's, that black belt is already 27. So it's 5 levels away from reaching, which it will easily be able to reach on a walking grind to get to that big 32.
Yeah, I could see just with the remaining dungeons necessary to do and doing a 2 to 3 character party, that black belt hits 32. If not, before TOFR, then certainly before Carry 2, which is when it starts to matter.
Yeah, for sure. I could see if they want to do anything in terms of walking through, a walking grind in the sky, which is a great place to do a walking grind, that would be more than enough. To get that. We're seeing our first checks of the Canaria locks here as well on Guelph's side. We've got a mage stick and some silver junk.
Yeah, I'm surprised Gregley didn't do a little bit more of a thorough check through the key locks. I certainly know that in the back of my mind, if I were doing, if I got the key in the spot that I did, I'd be like, this is the thing that separates me from other runners. I need to see if this is what leads me to victory and find a loose behind the key locks. At least the easy overworld ones, not Marsh.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was a misstep or what on Gregley's side. He cleared out that right side chest that has the normal mage tile behind it, but then he fell in the hole and he did not check the left chest that's on the main floor where the incentive item is.
That's true. It's probably a misstep. I don't think he would orphan that normally, unless he's just calculating that the steps to get back around to it aren't worth it. I don't know.
And we do know somewhere in here there is the Masa, so let's hope that chest was not the luck. Never mind, there it is. He's got it. He's feeling good.
All right, nice. So that's a good backup plan for anyone carrying a red mage. You've got fast temper, opal bracelet, Maza. You can put together a beast who can try to win the game for you if all of your nukes get soaked up by 2 high HP fiends and you get to chaos and you're like, I have 4 nukes left.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, he's got Masa, he's got Sun, he's got Ice. For even if you see one or two things, like let's say you find those red Ds and you want to take them out and not burn anything, you've got some decent melee damage coming out of those red mages now that you would be able to kill them fairly easily without having to expend any resources on them whatsoever.
Yeah, that would be good for anyone who goes Waterfall after Ice, but I think nobody has made that play. Ice has been pretty late for all the runners. Also, you gotta wonder if Gregory ever even checked level 5 magic, or even was considering checking a single magic shop after level 4 because of the wealth of things that we got, because he's promoted, so he would have had access to warp, and he could have sped up his ice cave significantly and not orphaned that one chest. But alas,
So,
it's fine.
I have news. I've just checked the sheet. We have a loose cube.
Wow. Okay, this is as close to perfect as it gets for these flags. Like, the whole design was to have the chance at like 2 required loose items with all the extra gear in the pool to make people just have to kind of go all over the world. It's a very chaotic flag design, and it's a roulette themed tournament basically, or a casino themed tournament. So with loose cube on our hands, that can be anywhere in the game besides the Sky Fortress, Floating Fortress, Sky Castle, whatever you want to call it.
Yep, I just saw it came up. Lefane leads to Thor. So, that means we have a loose cube somewhere. Gregory Puff is just going to... given all the things he's done to check all the chests, or to do all the incentives and everything, he's booking it over to Melman. He's going to get this translated. He's going to fly over to Lefane, and he's going to find out I have to keep opening chests.
Oh boy, and Crabcake's in stream has been following some of the other streams. Reminder: SG1, SG2, Randomizer 1, Randomizer 2, and RPG Limit Break for all the action. And some people have already done the Sky play, but it's not there. So we're down to some pretty trolly orphaned chests.
Oh boy. Could this be the absolute trolliest of trolls, where you have to TFC cube? Could this be the one where it finally happened?
Yeah, I mean, I would have definitely... We saw this in a couple of other runs throughout the tournament. In the air early-ish anyways, with a key, I definitely would have prioritized those chests and TOFR key-locked, like I was saying earlier. So we might not know what is there yet. In fact, I don't think people know, but, you know, that's 3 chests pretty close to the surface. You only have to get through 2 encounters to see them.
And here we go. Gregory's gonna make his way there and find the horrible news that we're hunting loose cubes somewhere in the world.
Yep, and the proximity play, like, it makes total sense. Everyone who does this slab translation as their last incentive check and gets the bad news is going to be like, well, I'm next to Sky, and I know it can be anywhere in the world. I'm going to see if Cube is here and maybe get ahead of anyone who wanted to save Sky for last and go mode it. But that's going to lead so many people to end up at the same dead end.
Yeah, so we've seen outside of a couple of chests, I believe there were a few chests that were also orphaned on the same floor prior to Mermaids where TFC is located. I don't think anyone full cleared that floor in terms of that. I believe Cyranus full cleared Earth, so we know it's not there. Volcano has not been full cleared. I think we saw an armory check and that was it. So boy oh boy.
Yeah, that's for the action on our stream. I want to say Volcano has been full cleared by someone on one of the other streams. Because we don't have a single fire orb lit on here, which is actually kind of surprising, but I guess the runners that we were watching took a while to get to that deduction that there is a second required loose.
I mean, technically speaking, the only person at this point in time who has all of the pieces to 100% guarantee that knowledge is Gregory Puff. He's the only one who can say for 100% certainty.
Yeah. You're seeing some of that veteran play, I think, from Gregory Puff. Now, all of these runners are very capable and can surprise you and take a race off of anyone when things roll right, but Gregory Puff is the most experienced racer. He was in, I want to say he was in the LCQ specifically a year ago, so he knows how to play just a little bit more speedy, you know, with his encounter manipulation, with knocking out his checks in kind of an efficient order, and combine that with the fact that he was early to key means, yeah, he's been able to get the most information in the least amount of time compared to everyone else.
Oh boy, getting more information that we haven't found anything outside of Marshlock or TFC now.
So, I gotta say, Crabcakes in chat again pointing out some very, very important bits of strategy relevant to this seed. With everyone full clearing, everyone's gonna take a lot of fights, gonna be a lot of walk and grind, and everyone's gonna get basically all the gear. So, where do those advantages fall? The 4 Red Mage party probably takes a little bit of a hit because that means all the people with Fighters and Knights are going to get really geared up, and all the people with Black Belts are going to get enough passive experience to be in shape for TOFR without a stationary grind. So, the 4 Red Mage strat really, really is one of those that wanted to see, the early loose items and get into Topher in the low 20s and just go, go, go. Right? 4 Red Mages is just kind of by design hoping for a 115 seed.
Yeah, so this is gonna be close. I have a feeling that both, just kind of looking at the tracking sheet and that Gregory Puff is at or near the lead overall at this point. Between the information that he's got and some of the checks and things that he's done. I know Fizzle looking at the tracking sheet looks like they're in a pretty good position as well.
Yep.
This is going to be close coming down the wire.
Yep, Gregory Puff finding nothing but a Bane Sword there in Mirage Tower, exits out. He even skipped a Blue Dragon fight, which, I don't know, I might have taken. Whereas Siren is still full clearing ice. Rag doing the Earthplay gets his X-Cal, which is, that's solid because now he can put the Maza on someone and have his Knight wear the X-Cal and increase his average melee DPS clear time. It also looks he's got all 4 members up, so he must be happy with his levels, and he wants the extra nukes as well as the extra run chance.
Let me get a look here at the Northwest key lock, see what they have for us.
Oh, Ganon's Gone Wild in chat points out someone reset out of the white shirt. I did not see which runner that was.
No, I missed that trying to look through the 63 things that I'm trying to keep.
Yeah, I think you absolutely keep white shirt with a party like this. Now, Invis 2 is level 5, learnable, promoted, but Red Mages don't get a lot of charges at that level. And white shirt just seems like a good backup. And for anyone who doesn't have 4 reds, which there are a few people on our stream who don't have 4 reds, having that extra white shirt caster means you can get everyone up to max evade. If you get a full physical fiend, or just a high, a 3-hit chaos or something like that, you absolutely want to max that evade as quickly as possible so you don't get punch, 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 and you have no time to send out your nukes.
Yeah, anything you can be doing to help deal with that, because we've seen a lot of really hard hitting. I've seen a few runs in very close races that ended to a punchy Kraken 2 where 2 or 3 Invis 2 charges were the difference to save some people versus others. One of the runners I know in this, Burt Reynolds, he was in a lead for, honest to goodness, an entire race until he hit a Kraken 2 and it punched him before he could do anything, and his opponent got a couple of Invis 2s off with the white shirt and was able to survive through it. Oh man, what an annoying pack of werewolves with Zap.
Yep. Gregory Puff's just resetting out of everything. He's shaving as many seconds as possible. He was the one who reset out of the white shirt. Thank you, chat. Cyrenus is on the Volcano full clear. And I see Guelph is he's in the neighborhood of Ordeal, so he's going to be picking up his loot soon. Gregory Puff following Cyrenus into the Volcano. So one thing chat pointed out, one thing maybe, so there are 4 chests left that we know could have our loose cube, and it's Marsh locked, there are 3, and Sea locked, there's 1. So 75% chance it's in Marsh, 25% it's in Sea. If Cyrenus goes back to Sea to clear for the cube first and goes to that right side single chest, while other runners are going back down to the bottom of Marsh, that could be Cyrenus' opening back into the game.
Yeah, and if he finds the one, he's going to be hunting both loose. And if they both end up being in C, that's the one thing that'll put him right back in it, because he would not, couldn't believe that he would leave C looking for 2 loose without checking every single chest in it.
Absolutely.
So, looks like Cyrus is done with the armory floor, picked out all of the chests and the hairpin and everything, exited out, now making his way down to the lower floors. And we've got Ragnarok full clearing Earth at this point.
So it looks like Ragnarok just not even taking the time to life his knight right there. Also, he's gonna grab that gold bracelet though. That's an upgrade over some of the other gear he's got in his inventory. Yeah, it's like in these randoms here that you're running through Earth trying to deal with, you're mostly just gonna run or nuke. So at best, the fighter is like 1 extra run chance. So he's just deciding, taking the time to menu for life, not worth.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. You gotta push heal pots a bunch of times, because that is another thing that we haven't actually seen at our first 6 levels of magic was Cure 4 or even Cure 3, I believe.
Yeah, we just had Cure 2 at level 1.
Yeah, something that's going to be able to get you to burn through healing really a lot faster versus having to heal pot a lot. So there's going to be a lot of time that people are going to be spending heal potting in Temple of Fiends.
By the way, how come I never noticed this tile before? Was this by the loot here, this triple I, or was this a different tile in? No, that okay,
is,
wow. So we
everybody exited out. Everybody exited out after they got their loot.
This is the fastest grind in the game. Okay, people were exiting. Exiting is the safe strat if you don't need a grind. The only person who needs it, really, is the person running the black belt. So here we go. This is, I love triple I's. It's soloable, it's team grindable. It looks like Guelph, being as close to 32 as he is probably just going to team grind this for a few moments.
Yeah. If there's anything even remotely roadblocky in Topher, Guelph's going to have a major advantage with 32 black belt, fast temper.
Yeah, Crab Cakes, I agree with your assessment as far as what you need to bank on for your chances at different stages of the seed in a big race like this. I think for people opening up the seed with the black belt and that level 1 nuke, you're probably thinking jet, don't stationary grind. But as you get late into a full cleary seed, you might start to think, oof, actually I don't know about this. I think I want the safety of the one shot, and I want to hope for a bad TOFR that pushed everyone else away.
Yeah, it could be. Welcome to one of the many gambles that you have to make playing this is, if there's anything that's going to be tough, if there's going to be anything that's going to be hard, that gives you a substantial advantage in TOFR. Having something that you're going to feel very confident with the magic supports that you have. Guelph's probability to one-shot Topher has got to be in the high 90s. Meanwhile, while all that was going down, Cyranus has now gotten down to the bottom, is checking the final red D chest here, and then we'll be going over to carry. Now, this becomes very interesting for Cyranus, because they have pretty much not done some of the Ewoks, obviously, because they can't. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Outside of the chests that they orphaned in.
So the slab and Mirage, Cyrus hasn't made the play to translate the slab and then go to Mirage, which is in the neighborhood. So I think Greg, it's chest coverage of anyone. It is also kind of funny we're seeing 4 simultaneous volcanoes here. Rag coming back to clean it up because he dipped earlier, and Cyrus on carry 1 and the other 2 in the middle of the full clear. Cyrus didn't even bother to heal, just assuming that 4 nukes or 3 nukes or whatever will get there. And they probably will, but that was more. This is already more than 1 round, so you never know. Carry punch the top 1 or damage poison, but it doesn't matter. Carry's down.
Yeah, that would have been one of those horrible times to see damage poison or blizzard or something like that. You still only got 1 ribbon, so
And I guess we know it couldn't be damage poison because that did come out on Kraken 1. But Thunder, Blaze, and
Yes.
Blizzard are all similar strength.
Okay, so we've got 3 orbs lit on Cyrenus' side. They're probably going to do that Slab and Mirage play at this point, and then we'll see what happens from there. They've still cleared everything else. Greatly Puff not horribly far behind, but still would have to do all of Earth. Meanwhile, Ragnarok, having full cleared Earth and Sea, but also has the knowledge, I believe, of clearing out the majority of the other chests and such, as well as just having Slab and Mirage left to do. So everyone here is very, very close.
Oh, and by the way, Greg Lipoff has Warp now, so if he didn't have it for Ice, he definitely does now. And that's a good check. You get out of another forced encounter if you warp back from that volcano quote-unquote incentive chest. Greg Lipoff, he's going to go with the 4 nuke strats here. Hope to 1-round carry if he gets the turn order that Cyrenus didn't, but he's getting some low rolls. There's a nice high roll, and 4th nuke does not do the job, so it's going to need 1 round. Ice 2 not going to be doing too much.
Ironically, that Ice 2 would have been an absolute disaster for Cyrenus, taking out those 3 members who had like 20 HP only.
Yeah, because if that happened immediately and it was just like 1 red mage, then you're in the territory where, you know, carry 1 can roll a couple hundred damage on the punches.
Yep. Definitely seen her not skip arm day a few times and swing all 6 of those arms with some serious heft.
Alright, so Gregly, it's time for the Earthfall clear. So this will be him on his way to his 3rd orb overall. Cyrenus has 3 orbs, Ragnarok has 3 orbs. Cyrenus has to revisit Sea Shrine. Gregly, I believe, is just Earth and those strewn about keylocks.
Yeah, that would be all that he has left. I'm not sure what Ragnarok has left either at this point being done. I know they full cleared Earth and Water. Boy. And Guelph finishing out here in Fire. Yeah, as we suspect, making the proximity play for Cyrenus. Gonna check out the 2 floors of Mirage, see if that key is hidden there, but sadly not.
Alright, we got an Ice 2 coming out, knocks out the lowest HP member there for Ragnarok, but this should also be a pretty drama-free fight, so we're going to be looking at 3 orbs here in just about 20 seconds. And he's doing that Maza plus Excal strat, though his Knight gets Sleep 2'd for a turn. Sleep 2 is non-elemental, that can go through a ribbon, though I don't think his Knight is wearing one right now. We do have Knight Learnable Life this seed, which is an edge for anyone who brought a fighter, which only 1 fighter on a stream of 4 runners in Spring Tournament flags, definitely unusual.
That's you. I think given that magic off the start, I would have looked probably 3 red fighter. Just having some sort of tank or some sort of damage carry potential, like we were saying. If there's anything wrong, if you've got 2 or 3 really beefy fiends at the end, you can eat through a lot of charges. Or even as well, just if you have a lot of unrunnables in Topher, that can really slow you down and take up a lot of resources before you even get to the big boys.
Yep. So that's why when we were back at minutes 2 to 5 or something like that, I was sort of on the fighter double red black hype train, because that kind of ensures that if we hadn't seen fast and temper roll where they were, you've got that covered while having triple nuke casters and a late game melee carry. But the quad red is people at the beginning of this seed going for the Ishman Maya strats, going for the jet seed upset over someone else who's like way too prepared. Hey, and we got a subscribe in chat. Chad Burt subscribed for 5 months to Speed Gaming. Thank you very much. Enjoy the emotes.
So I just checked our master sheet again, and at this point in time, no one has found that loose cube yet. And I think between everybody, we've got to be down to Marsh TFC.
Man, the suspense on where this thing is killing me. By the way, Gregory is in just a bit of an odd situation. I think he's running through here and just like lifing characters to 1 HP and then moving on and hoping that nothing attacks him. Alright, he's just kind of getting pummeled by these random encounters here. One of his characters is stoned. Just a lot of inconvenience, really.
Oh my god, chat is telling us it is.
Alright, so to really break it down, the chest that's key-locked in Sea Shrine, I don't know the full history, but there is a seed long ago, a big race, where there was progression in that spot. And, you know, progression can land anywhere in the game. It's a little less likely to land behind things like key, because then, you know, the randomizer won't make a completable seed for it. And it's even less likely to land behind a key that's also behind an oxyale. So those two things, combined with the fact that it's 1 out of 200 some odd chests, makes TFC really, really unlikely. But as it turns out, by spoilers from the other 4 networks that you can also be watching if you're multi-twitching for this big LCQ, that the loose cube is in play. It is that friendly chest here to be your best friend and bring you the full clearest, longest, trolliest seed possible for the highest stakes race of the tournament.
Boy, oh boy, this is fantastic. Now, here's the super interesting thing. If you're Cyrenus, you've already come here. You have orphaned a chest at some point. You just cleared the right side of the few checks that you couldn't make. You missed the key on left side.
Oh!
What are the chances he's going to turn around and go right side to check it?
If he bought Warp, I think if you have Warp on those promoted reds, you warp back like 4 floors or whatever it is from getting your key and finishing off those chests and check this. Like, I just don't think you can leave with so little left in the game.
Man, oh man, this is gonna be so interesting when he... This is gonna be so interesting when he picks up his key, what decision that he makes at that point.
Okay, MG Weirdo, our tracker, one of our 2 trackers rather today. Big shout outs to Magus and MG Weirdo for doing the tracking for this stream on SG1. We've got a master tracking sheet centrally for the tournament, but every stream has its own trackers that are helping us keep track of magic. Confirms Cyrenus has Warp, so that plays into the fact that Cyrenus might just stay here and be the first to that sweet, sweet chest. And the doom and gloom from the beginning, meaning that Cyrenus had to double dip Sea Shrine, well, everyone has to double dip Sea Shrine, so it's kind of all coming true.
Yeah, this is gonna be so interesting when he makes this decision in literally a minute, because all he has is the 2 chests in the bottom right and the 1 chest in the bottom left to clear.
Yeah, and
then
he's
what?
got key locks on the overworld and in Marsh.
That's it.
But come on, please do it. This is your chance. This is your chance to be the LCQ champion.
It 100% is. If he makes the play and goes, you know what, I'm getting it, then it's huge.
Oh, but you wouldn't be surprised. The person off stream who was first to visit TFC and pick up that cube is Ale Markin. Ale Markin, one of the really just high caliber runners of the tournament, who got just a shorthand of luck throughout. I believe he was the one who got upset by Maya in week 1 by the triple red strats you see on screen. And so he ended up only at 3-3, where I think people were predicting big things. So not surprised to see him in the top of the field here, given his level of play.
So we've got a few people on all the channels. We're hearing Super, Fizzle, picking it up pretty much. Burt Reynolds right there with Ale, and Cyrnus could be right there as well. I mean, blink and you miss it. There was a thing with robes on Grigglypuff's screen. It's dead. He's got 3 orbs lit.
Yep. 3 orbs for 3 of our runners on stream. Grigglypuff is making the Marsh Keylock play. Oof.
It's 3 versus 1.
Yeah, no,
right?
I'm going to take this every time. It's just so sad.
So we're getting reports. Ale, Markin, Lord Fizzlebeef, Burt Reynolds, all now officially in go mode. Cyrnus is literally steps away from potentially doing it if after this turns around. I think he's got this chest left and then has to make the decision to warp back to TFC.
Grigglypuff, just double checking that what he's looking for is the cube, I guess.
Yeah.
Here he goes.
I can't imagine if there's ever a time I wanted to see a streamer's react
exit.
face.
He does exit, and then
no.
is he housing? He's turning around. Cyrnus
going
turns
back.
around. He's just going to the shop. What is he doing?
no.
Is he just getting heal pots or houses? He goes left.
Oh,
No,
no.
Cyrnus, no.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That is so unfortunate.
The drama that you get from randomizers, it's just so up and down with the emotions, and like Cyrnus like tugged at our heartstrings one way and then the other, but unless this TOFR is so bad that everyone in the running has to reset multiple times and it comes down to someone getting like turn order luck, yeah, we need TOFR to be an equalizer now at this point for Cyrnus, who's got all these keylocks to clean up.
As I was saying, was if there was ever a time I wanted to see like everyone have a face cam, I want to see the look on everyone's face the minute they realize it's TFC.
With the
He's
key
in TFC.
in the left side.
Both loose were sitting right there in C. They were both sitting right there in C.
This seed is so canonical for the kinds of stories that this randomizer can tell, because at one degree it can make the game look really easy, like, oh, level 1 nuke, level 2 life, early floater, like, let's go, we're gonna get a personal best on this seed, and then things happen, and then more things happen, and then suddenly you realize, like, everything was not all it was cracked up to be, and you get not just a bad, but the literal worst possible last location. And if you're someone who tracks or sometimes prays for the robot chicken to visit us, for those who are superstitious in the Sky Palace, someone off stream, Ailmark, and one of our leaders with the cube already in hand, has apparently taken 3 more mechs in a row.
Evidently rolled to encounter 7 became encounter 1.
Yeah, we've got rarity shuffle for encounters, and also, funny enough, on the B-side tiles there, speaking of encounters, the regular fires turned into the 4-fire pack in Volcanoes, so that's kind of thematic. But yeah, we shuffle encounter rarity. Warmech is normally encounter 7, which is a 3 out of 64 chance to roll, and it can get swapped up as high as a, gosh, numbers are hard, a 16 out of 64 chance among the table of many encounters.
And here we see Grigglypuff. Remember when I said he had that misstep where he missed that left chest?
Oh, yeah, wow, this almost never matters.
He is now going back to check that one missed chest that he fell off of on the main floor. Where the incentive location is, the chest to the left of it. He had a misstep. He cleared the chest that's usually guarded by the mages and then misstepped into the pit and missed the left chest of the bank of 3.
Also, off-stream, Lord Fizzlebeef entered Temple of Fiends Revisited first because he did not fight Warmech, so he got through Sky faster. So if you want to pull up some intense action, check out... One second, I need to pull up which stream it's on.
Fizzle is on Rando 2.
Ah, I was just about there, yeah. Randomania 2. But please multi-twitch, don't leave.
I'm literally pulling that up right now because I'm going to try and call both as we're getting there because this is intense.
Yeah, and Cyrnus here, he's cleaning up Keylocks. Gregglypuff, back to an orphan chest. Gregglypuff, unfortunately, is showing us the cost of orphan chests in randomizer play. They save you time in the short run, but then when you scatter like 3 or 4 chests across the entire world, Gregglypuff just can't even believe it. He's looking at his inventory, doesn't have a cube, he's wondering what he missed.
He's probably putting together at this moment while Ragnarok picks it up. He's got his cube from TFC.
Wow.
Fizzle
So
Beef.
Ragnarok, first one on stream in Go mode.
Meanwhile, Fizzlebeef is currently on the Lich floor, halfway through the floor, making his way to the first Refiend fight.
Alright, Ragnarok about to enter the Sky Palace with 3 orbs down, 3 orbs already lit rather, so his 4th. If he books it through here and doesn't spend too much time on, say, Warmech fights, he will probably be through Sky in about 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah, something to that effect, I would suspect. Gregglypuff has put it all to... Gregglypuff missed something left side, I guess.
Oh,
he...
no!
The
I
chest behind... No, he orphaned the chest behind...
Oh, no! You're right, he totally did! I remember Jack calling that out
behind the
earlier.
Sharknado floor.
Yeah, Life Reboot pointed that out to us. Oh man, Gregglypuff, we felt like he was so ahead in the early to mid game, and Rando is being Rando right now. He's got to be so frustrated.
Lich 2 is now dead. For Lord Fizzlebeef.
Oh man, I want to pull up. Hang on, I think I'm gonna pull up another stream too instead of this master tracking sheet.
Yeah, I've got my phone sitting in front of me. This is I would turn my PlayStation on for another one too if there was more.
Wow. I'm on the edge of my seat here. This, as both a caster and community member and also a runner in the tournament, I'm seeing the competition for the upcoming play-in race, which a few members in chat are also involved in. And yeah, this is just, it's so thrilling.
Interesting party comp. Fizzle went with Fighter Ninja Red-Black, so he's got all that nuke, but he's also got the Katana swing coming out as well. He's on carry 2.
So what could have... to bring it back maybe just to the action on our stream, none of the runners on this stream took a Thief, right? And a Thief in this flag set, with its 2 loose items where you often have to check many, many chests in the game, the Thief is a great flex option that speeds up your clear time through dungeons by allowing you to run from bad encounters and just get through them no problem, while also being a late game possible win condition with a katana or just an extra black magic caster. And Ninja's got a lot of good magic to work with this seed.
Unfortunately, on our screen, Gregglypuff did not check TFC. He has left. He's not sure what's left.
Oh no. Oh no. It's that race pressure, and also potentially, not taking notes, not running a tracker. There are a lot of things that, like, when you're relying on having it all in your brain for the whole seed and having a perfect memory, your memory starts to fail as the details pile up and there are more and more things to think about in the long run. And yeah, it can be really hard to keep track of it all. And unfortunately, Gregglypuff, he's spinning his wheels. I've been there. I know how bad it feels.
Yeah, he's going over everything at this point in time in his mind. We've got a Kraken 2 pull on Lord Fizzlebeef, who just got zapped, lost his fighter and his ninja, now lost his black mage. Gets through with his red mage, he's got life, it's going to take time, but he's going to be back up on his feet. So, the leader at this point, Fizzlebeef, going on to Tiamat.
Yeah, we got Ragnarok here on our stream. He's on the Bridge of Destiny, so we'll see if he takes any Warmech fights if he gets them. There's one.
There it is.
Run. Oh, wait. No, run. Okay. He's not interested. Ragnarok wants to go. He's got the levels. His fighter is already over 600 HP, so he knows he's strong enough to win. Yep. I think if you come in there's the cube for Cyrannus. I think if you come in off of a power cycle, that's probably why you're going to see those consistent multiple Warmech encounters. And Puff, he's back in Volcano. Sees a Zeus Gauntlet behind a chest that he never picked up, but he's rechecking. And when you see someone rechecking in Rando, you know it's over. Ragnarok 784 is on Tiamat, the fourth of the first fiends. He leads off with a punch from Danny instead of like a nuke or something. He wants to go with physical strats here mostly because he is spending time to cast fast. The nuke comes out from CC, doesn't actually do much damage. Switching now to nukes, so everyone's getting involved in the damage. Tia 1 had no HP and is down. Ragnarok has the orb lead on our stream here and is going to be set to go in TOFR very soon.
Tia 2 down. Lord Fizzlebeef is now on Chaos. Heading into the final floor, made it to the final floor. So, we've got on our screen Ragnarok, the first one who's going to be headed into the Temple of Fiends. Meanwhile, we've got overall, the leader at this point in time is Lord Fizzlebeef. Over on Randomania 2, if you want to check it, just pulled Chaos.
Yeah, the implications are that whoever wins this fight or wins this race means that everyone else is knocked out of the tournament. This is an elimination game. First place passes and no one else.
So far, we've got a punch-happy Chaos, hasn't done too much. On our stream, poor Puff still unsure of where to go. We've got Cyrannus blazing through, headed towards their multiple Warmechs and to Tiamat. And not far behind is Guelph.
Oh man, Puff rechecking Kelox here, like where he reset out of this white shirt earlier. And we know who in the tournament will advance. Yeah, spoilers. GG to Lord Fizzlebeef off stream, who did finish with a first place SRL time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, 23 seconds. And the people who just want to get gone have forfeit in SRL, maybe because it's late for them or they don't care about their SRL points or whatever. But the tournament hopes and dreams for the other 17 runners do come to a close, as Lord Fizzlebeef will advance to the play-in race to be scheduled sometime next week on Earth Flags.
Wow. Oh, and poor Puff, unfortunately, is sitting here. He's one of the ones who has dot forfeit. Let's see if we can get him in here. I'm sure he's going to be lamenting what's happened.
Yeah, he's obviously going to go through his interview on Randomania 2, but maybe he'll make a tour and do the rounds that everyone
No,
can get.
Puff, I was meaning.
Oh, Puff, my bad.
Gregory is one of the ones who has dot forfeit. I wonder if we can get him over here if he'd be interested.
It is definitely late. A lot of people are running on East Coast time, and it's pulling up on midnight right now. Ragnarok forfeit in SRL. He's still playing it out on stream, though. You might see him, assuming he's still willing to finish, you might see him dot undone and then dot done in SRL, which is a thing you can do if you forfeit early and you still haven't broken any rules or gotten any information about the race.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think there's any information he really needs to.
Well, something about who the fiends have, like what kind of magic they have. Anyway, so Ragnarok is in TOFR. He's about to pull Lich on the Earth floor. Cyrannus is on Tia 1, just through the Bridge of Destiny here, and is going to find out very quickly that Tia 1 had 500 HP.
Aelmarkin also now officially finished in second place. 2 minutes and 3 seconds behind Lord Fizzlebeef, so right there with it.
Yeah, so at stake the rest of the way, right, is just SRL points. There's a leaderboard. You can go over to speedrunslive.com and see the official tracking chart for both this tournament, which has all been run on SRL, as well as many other speedrunning games, if that's your shtick. And Burt Reynolds pulled up with a great third place finish time of 1 hour, 38 minutes and 12 seconds. So really just those top tier runners, those people that we were talking about as early, pre-tournament favorites to advance, people that were really hyped up. Lord Fizzlebeef was one of them, Ailmark and Burt Reynolds coming in 1, 2, 3 here in this big field of 18. Not surprising at all, but hard luck as only Fizzle will advance.
Yeah, that is the absolute insanity of this race that you had. There were so many incredible runners who finished at 3 and 3, just from the quality of players all around, plus a few upsets here and there that put some people that I know nobody wanted to see some of these people in a last chance qualifier. The competition was so good, and it's really unfortunate to see runners like Gregory Puff, like Ailmark, and like Burt Reynolds not moving on in this tournament, because I know before a lot of people would have thought they'd have been going a long way in this.
All right, Ragnarok pulling Carry 2 here. We're going to see what Carry 2 has for us today. Carry 2 trying to stop. A few of us don't have ribbons here. It looks like just the third number there for Ragnarok. Gets time stopped and stunned. Decent hit, 3 hits for 260-ish damage. The nukes come out total to about 450. That's not a bad first round. Carry's vanilla HP is 700, so we just over vanilla HP there, somewhere around 1,000. We take down Carry 2 for Ragnarok onto the sea floor. Cyrenus walking through the earth floor, going to be pulling up to the first Fiend refight here in a moment.
So there's Ragnarok moving on. Pulling into Kraken now. We're gonna go fight fast temper nuke. So pulling out some buffs. So Kraken responds with nuclear.
Yeah, we had our fourth place off-stream finisher. The Super Pleb finished at 1 hour 40, so that's pretty solid time. GG's over there. This Kraken... Oh, we got another zap coming out. Does it take down anyone? Maybe just the bottom member? Yeah, Danny wasn't doing much, but did just swing instead of attacking. Nukes coming out 125, 111. Not great nuke rolls here. We're running with the Xcal still on the fighter. Haven't switched that Maza over. So not getting quite the most DPS we could get per round. We're going to try some tempering and I think a Quad X. Yeah, there you go. Quad X is not enough to do it. Kraken still has more than 300 HP remaining and cracks the fighter for a bunch, who cracks back for 10 hits, over 650. So just punch for punch here. Another Red Mage goes down, but this probably will do it. Yeah, 10 hits, 850. All right, so 3 Fiend refights down for Ragnarok. Coming up on the Tia 2 refight.
Meanwhile, unfortunately, Guelph is now having the same pain that Gregory Puff had. Where the heck is the chest that I haven't checked yet? And rechecked a bunch of things. It now seems like they're on the right path to be heading towards TFC and C, while Cyrenus heading over to Carry 2.
Yeah, so as far as the stories, right, about like how the runners that are on our stream in particular fared and the chances that they took going into this, it seems like the winning strategy for the seed was take a balanced but black magic leaning offensive fast party. So fighter thief red black, which Fizzle took, certainly up there as one of those candidates. Full clear the seed efficiently. Don't orphan chests, especially if it makes you forget chests. And then no stationary grinds, basically. Temple of Fiends Revisited, overall not presenting much of a challenge, especially if you took a walking grind all seed.
Yeah, given how this seed laid out and how many places you would have to be checking, just logically, because no one's gonna... What would have been the chances that somebody would have right-cleared mermaids, because that's our incentive, would have then left clear to get the key, to then right-clear right away to get that cube out of TFC, right? Almost everybody double-dipped at this point. You had to.
Yep.
So you were gonna, just by that alone, the walking grind, your walking levels would have been enough to put you in a position where you could take this out.
Yep. We got some physicals here coming out to save nukes probably on some of the red mages for Ragnarok. Party's kind of in reverse order of importance. The most healthy members down at the bottom are also the most important, and that fighter does over 1100 to Tier 2, takes it down. So Ragnarok going to be ready to pull Chaos here after he heals up his party, gets everyone back in tip-top shape. That lowest level red mage, not a huge priority, but still probably has a couple of magic charges to contribute. Cyranus is still working through the fire floor, was just stuck on an Agama fight, getting stun locked, and lost a couple of members, but is about to pull carry 2. But yeah, let's call this, let's see this tournament out here for Ragnarok. Call this Chaos fight.
Going to take last minute preparations, get everybody healed up. I wonder if they're even going to bother putting Danny's health all the way to the top. Or it's just going to be like, yeah, you just eat whatever and die.
Yep. Cyranus in full gamble mode. Casts life on a bunch of characters, doesn't even bother healing, and gets through carry. Thank goodness, right? Ragnarok, yeah, just absolute sure we're going to get through this one fight with the right stuff on all the right characters. Just a single nuke charge left there for Danny. It doesn't even have the level 4 magic. But everyone else is going to be buffing up the fighter with offense. And Danny, unfortunately, goes down before ever getting the nuke out. Not too much of a loss. Apparently wasn't wearing a ribbon on that fighter because had to cast wall around 1 to be sure that he'll be safe from those insta-kills.
Going with the fast and tempers, also throwing some defense on. Chaos doesn't hit very hard though, only 86 on that red mage, so... And I know he did move the Masa over finally to that fighter as well, so he's swinging the big sword. 9 hits, 1144. Boy, that Masa's already tempered and fasted up. It's doing some serious work. Nuke comes out 172. White shirt, bringing up those evasion stacks. Now 3 onto that fight.
Oh, a Blaze just wipes out the second red mage there, so we're down to 2 characters. 107 from that nuke, not amazing, but that's a big Maza hit. 10 hits, 999 with a crit in there. Maza's got a respectable crit rate. It's not the best, but it's better than the X-Cal. And there you go, a nuke for 294. Ragnarok is our first on-stream runner to finish. He does not undone or anything in SRL, so he's going to remain forfeited from the official records, but in our hearts, he has finished here on stream with about an hour and 44 or 37 times. So good out your GGs. Ragnarok doesn't advance in the tournament, but does put through the paces of the game and finishes off Chaos. Oh, and Cyranus down to just 1 member against Kraken.
Cyranus took
Kraken
the
zap on the chin.
I was going to say that unfortunately Cyranus went with the same gamble. I'll just leave everybody at 1 HP with life and see what happens.
Yeah, Cyranus was probably not too emotionally invested there after being eliminated. I can totally see that. That's why we're seeing a lot of forfeits. SRL points in the end, it is a leaderboard, but it also doesn't really mean anything, so a lot of people don't care, and once there's no tournament stakes, they're out. So that leaves, of our remaining runners on stream here, we've just got Guelph trying to finish it out. He's on the Bridge of Destiny, trying to escape these nachos. I don't know what he's doing. Actually, I think nachos are delicious. I personally would go for some nachos right now.
Making me hungry, my friend. Making me hungry. At 12 o'clock
MG
at
Weirdo
night, it's always nacho time.
Yeah, MG Weirdo, our dutiful and diligent tracker in chat, was pointing out that Cyranus had not stocked up fully on healing potions, so probably a little bit of a gamble there to maybe get through with just a slight extra edge in the end game of not stopping to do all the shopping, but alas. So Guelph is on Tiamat 1. He's going to find out that this black belt should probably one-shot it if the nukes don't do the job first. Oof, 12 hits for over 1,000 damage. That's a strong black belt.
And that would have been the edge had Temple of Fiends actually had everything that you had hoped for it to have in terms of, any sort of roadblocks and such, but it turned out to be one of those ones where if you just had, level 24, 25, you'd be able to make it through, no problem.
Yep. And, interestingly, so with everyone full clearing the rest of the game, I want to say we never even found our full complement of ribbons. So there are 7 chests in Temple of Fiends.
I was just gonna say, that's the only place they could be.
So I want to see, maybe Guelph won't do it, but I would love to know if anyone off stream went through all the chests in Temple of Fiends we visited just for the memes once they knew they were eliminated to potentially grab
Yeah,
themselves an
that's
extra
true.
ribbon.
We checked every single chest in the game outside of that and found one ribbon, meaning there are two in either validation, carry, or vanilla massa.
Oh yeah, and also chat pointing out we didn't find the Vorpal, the game changer, the highest crit rate weapon that a
Yeah.
knight can wield in the game, or a red wizard for that matter. It wouldn't matter for Guelph's
Oh,
party.
yes, that's true. Thank you, Edge Figaro. That is very true.
Oh,
There was a
right,
crap ton in Sky we
right.
did not
Everyone
check.
go moded Sky. Yeah. So we quote unquote full cleared the game, but only the full
Yeah,
clear
that's
minus what
right.
was locked out. So that's statistically the most likely remaining place for all those things we didn't see.
Yes, that's very true. In my heart, I'm still hoping it was all. It's all on the
Yeah.
validation chests.
I'd love to see Vanilla Mazza Chest have the Vorpal, because I think that would be a sign. It would be kind of like a message sent down from heaven to say, what is truly the most valuable, most precious, most rare sword in the game of Final Fantasy Randomizer. Alright, Guelph, one last encounter here with the Frosties. He's about to pull up on the Earth floor here, the first floor for him. That's got a Fiend refight. He's going to take this Gurmadusa, or not take the Gurmadusa fight, but give himself the chance to kill some if his black belt happens to go first, who's holding the mage staff.
I like that
I'm gonna drop some
strategy.
nukes here on these. Yeah, that's a great way to pick up some free experience if your run chances fail. And also taking these mud goals and rock goals, not a bad fight for experience. Of course, not as good as many rock goals, but Punch just hit 32, so that's the magic number. I think you'll start to see Guelph run more, and there he goes.
Yeah, this is exactly where you wanna be hitting that. Is if you've got that coming into the Fiend refights, it feels really good that you're gonna be able to take it real easy.
Yeah. Well, level 32 is the point you get to where you don't even need to consider fast that much. Like if this were a fastless seed, 8 hits would be enough, especially when you throw on some tempers. 8 hits did 440 there to Lich, but no crits, so didn't actually take him down in one shot. Just bad turn order there on all the offensive buffs.
And that's usually how it works. Now this will be like 1200. Jeez. Never mind, we're 1642. Poor Lich was like, that's all you got? That's all you got? Never mind.
Yep, and I think one of the red mages there just hit 33. The reds did have higher levels overall, thanks to how that rock goal grind early in the Earth Cave was going for Guelph. So I'm hearing from folks in chat, there were nothing special in the validation chests leading to in the room with the loot, but that there are 2 ribbons in TOFR, if the chat is to be believed. Anyways, Guelph pulling carry 2, leading off with Nuke, so banking on a low HP roll, and we know that this carry 2 had between like 700 and 1000 HP, so pretty good strat. Between those high rolls of the Nuke and the Punch, we should be done in one round here. Oh no! 3 hits for only 191, no crits. This is a very high evasion carry 2, which is something you don't see that often.
Unfortunately, it can't take any more nukes, even with capped out HP in the 1100 range, which is approaching that. That's still not. They're not going to take too many more nukes.
Yep. And so ETAP in chat, the one who alluded to the 2 ribbons in TOFR, says that Rojo, one of the runners in this race, got them. And Rojo hasn't forfeited, so must be still going.
No, it has.
Yeah, about half the field is forfeit. The last person that did finish a little while ago was Shofu Komachi, who took 5th place with 143. He races SRL a lot. I'm sure he wanted those leaderboard points, as I do. I love the leaderboard.
When you want to feel good about yourself, eh?
Exactly, right? You go back every so often and just say,
booster.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Look, there I am. That's me.
Exactly. You need every kind of little jolt of self-esteem you can get these days. Alright, Guelph getting through this seafood party platter here, gets level 31 on, I want to say his black mage. No, that was his second red mage. So all those important characters have over 400 HP. So if he gets through, late into the fight of one of these fiends and sees a spell roll around to nuke, which I don't believe we've seen yet, he would be safe.
we've got a question in chat from Orishuna. Orishnu. I'm sorry, I butchered that. I'm gonna call you Ori. What exactly does this randomizer do? So it takes all the items in the game and makes them go anywhere. They can be placed in various places. Certain ones are considered incentivized, being the main items that you use to complete the game and such. It also takes all the things like spells, mixes them up. So spells that could be level 8 could potentially be level 1 and everywhere in between. Boss and enemies, they can have varied HP. You can set them to be from anywhere from 20% to 500% of what they are. And these flags run between 50 and 200% for stats. So, and then also enemy skills and enemy abilities are all shuffled. So pretty much anything that you can think of, this randomizer has the potential to move it wherever it wants. And as you're saying, level 1 flare, well, yeah, that flare is nuke in this, and we had level 1 nuke, so it was available right off the start.
Yep. So Guelph got through Kraken, only losing the Black Mage in the last slot here. Is on to Tier 2, starting out with some defensive strats, got that white shirt going up, good call. Tempering up that Black Mage, and already, wow, 1300 damage is not enough, so this is a high roll-ish Tiamat. Tiamat 2 has 1100 HP in vanilla. This second punch should do it. Another 1175.
That's not enough to
Holy
live,
smokes. Wow, yeah, you could roll max HP in these flags on Tier 2, and I think we would have basically just gotten through it. It's about 2300 or so, 2400 maybe. Yeah, wow. So, Guelph in a pretty solid position here to finish this one out. Shouldn't have too much drama on Chaos based on what we've seen so far. And yeah, for anyone who is thinking about picking up the randomized version of this, if you're a fan of the original Final Fantasy, but maybe you thought the game was a little slow or a little bit buggy, and you're more of a fan of the remakes, well, this randomizer fixes all those bugs, speeds up the game, makes it a lot more engaging, a lot more strategic. We've got a whole community full of people that love to race it, or not race it, just play casually, play bingo, whatever your heart's content. You can design flags that are interesting to you. You can head over to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com or follow the links in chat to join us on the Discord.
Yes, play bingo. You can do whatever you want. You just have fun. That's the point.
Yeah, I will tell you a little bit more about the bingo, Insomniac Gamer, in just a second. We have Guelph, who's healing up here, about to pull Chaos, and I want to give Guelph the shot here, who stuck it out, is finishing the stream, finishing the race, and as our last on-stream runner here, I want to make sure to send him off on a good note. So, going through the last of this heal pot's gonna get more. Oh wait, punch help more death. I think he was trying to form a sentence there, or half of a sentence with his party name. I just noticed. Anyways, he used the last of his 9 or so heal pots there, and is going to pull Chaos with the Black Mage in front to take a hit.
We are also joined in chat by the winner themselves, Lord Fizzleby Fizzle. I promise we will get to you in like 2 seconds. We've got our final runner, both pulling Chaos. We just want to give them the opportunity that they deserve here.
Yep, and didn't get great turn order there. The Black Belt came out swinging, 8 hits, only 148 with a crit there at the first swing, so gonna need to get buffed up first. Getting all our tempers and fasts out. That's not 2 stacks of temper. That's plus 14 attack per hit, and crits are gonna benefit from that even more so. We're gonna see just like massive damage here, 1650 already. You can see how quickly that Black Belt gets powered up when you put on those buffs. This is probably gonna be only one more round and no drama. Even if we see a massive nuke, it will not take down that Black Belt who's got 541 HP. We just got fight all the way. We know what's coming. It's inevitable. Chaos gets punched for 2,700 damage.
Goodbye.
Guelph has finished off Chaos. GG. Guelph finished in 8th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 37 seconds. Get out your GGs in chat, everyone, for Guelph.
Yeah, Guelph just decided to send Chaos an extra 2,000 years into the past with that punch. My goodness.
GG Guelph. I only managed like 1,500 on my top end.
Still, enough to get it done. Fizzle, my good friend, you advanced to the play-in race with me, which means we are now mortal enemies. What do you have to say?
Everyone who ever wanted TFC as like a thing, you don't want it. You don't. You just don't.
I mean, the viewers, they love the memes, and we know that this will now go down in history as far as spring tournaments for the randomizer, but oh my gosh.
I opened every box that is not in Sky or Topher. I opened TOF locked, I did Marsh lock, full cleared Earth, everything until like the gears finally clicked, and it's just like, oh my god, it was TFC the whole time, and I could have had it this whole time, but I didn't.
Yeah, because you would have had to have galaxy brained left side full clear for loose into right side mermaids and then down through a full clear of C2. Like, nobody would do that.
Yeah, because like ordinarily you're supposed to do Kraken side first, but I feel like when there's an incentive that kind of breaks the rules, especially if there's something like Bonk or Thorhammer, something that'll make your life a little bit easier clearing the dungeon, or Bonk at least for Kraken as kind of like a just in case, because I only had one Bratcaster at the time. Yeah,
So obviously we weren't on your channel. What level did you make the play? Because Oxiel came from Bicky, so you had Oxiel early. What level did you make the play to go into C and start that?
So it took forever for the early game trash to actually kill my thief, so I just kept running and running and running and running. I followed the Ruby line from Sages before I headed down to C, so I got my airship, and then I did my class change, and then I landed on Onrak Continent level 8, level 9, did Waterfall first, did a power cycle before I entered Waterfall, because that's where all the garbage of the encounter table was. I was like level 16 by the time I left Waterfall. And then I just demolished C, ran from as much as I could. Well, I took the easy Gersharks because they had like 200 health and no armor. It was amazing. And there were some sketchy parts, but I eventually learned that it was easier to kill lobsters than run away from them. And I think by the time I left all that nonsense, I was around 18, 19.
Yes,
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's really interesting listening to how you went about doing that, because on our set of streams and such, we had everybody that was their first orb cleared, and we were all sitting around level 10. Really quick dives in, and so I was wondering that because it was very interesting how, like we were saying, you'd have to, at those levels, is it even practical to think I'm going to clear Kraken side first, especially with this being C week? To then have to go all the way back to the right side to clear out TFC. I mean, if there was ever a way that a seed wanted to troll it, this was it, right?
Yep.
So
before you start that thought, Fizzlebeef, 1 second. I believe we are joined in chat by Guelph.
Guelph, yes.
Check.
GG.
A good game.
Yeah, so we just saw you finish up here. You were the only one on our stream of 4 runners to ultimately roll with the black belt. We did have 2 party rerolls. I think Gregory Puff rolled away from it specifically, but yeah, just tell us about how you felt going through the seed. You took it kind of steady and finished with a respectable time here, getting through to the end. What are some of your thoughts on that troll?
Well, if I had decided to go back and check TFC once I got that loose key, would have been a lot closer to that first place time. I don't know if it would have saved me enough time, but I would have been in go mode way earlier, not needing any more gear, and would have been real close to that first place time.
Yeah, you are, with the black belt, you are in a unique spot of needing to check so many fewer chests than everyone else. And you got to 32, of course, that important threshold, which is usually good enough to finish in these flags. Since you had the black belt, that sets you apart from everyone else. What was your grind like? Like, how hard was it to get those levels going? Tell us about that.
Well, I found the rock goals on Earth. I found them earlier than I could handle them. But once I got a couple more levels and some houses, I was able to use that to get up to about 25 or so, which I figured 25 that early would certainly get to 32 by the time I got to Topher.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that set you apart from the runners here on this stream was that you prioritized those early overworld and town-based incentive checks. So you went to the sages and did all the back and forth with the fetches. You were actually in the air first among people on our stream,
Wow.
which is it's a good edge to get when you're the one running the black belt, because you need to sort of have that extra buffer time to go around, check your spike tiles and stuff, and try and get some early levels.
I try to prioritize as many of the incentive checks early as I can, just on the off chance that I don't have to look for another loose item.
And that's ultimately how I think most people here were routing, but we just had some really aggressive early Sea Shrine plays from Cyranus and Gregorypuff, both with 4 red mages, based on the fact that they had so much offensive magic, they figured that they could clear the dungeon at low levels.
Yeah, there was nuke for days.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm being directed elsewhere, so I'm going to give my final thoughts before I bounce.
Okay.
Everyone always jokes about, I want the TFC seed. What wouldn't it be so awesome if it was TFC and then everyone has to do everything, and everyone will love it and everyone will hate it. And I had all of those emotions. 0 out of 10 do recommend.
No matter what, though, congratulations on it. Well played. You're the one. Good luck next week, and see if you can keep pushing it through.
Thanks.
Guelph, for you. Boy.
Yeah, we are.
How'd that feel? How'd that feel?
I came into this race with no expectations. This is my first tournament for this game, so to get this far, I felt good. To finish top 10 against this group, I'm happy with that. I'll schedule permitting, I'll definitely be involved in the next Duck Derby.
Oh, that'll be
see
awesome.
if that'll be that's probably a little more my level.
Yeah, for those in chat who are newer to the game or just about to start, maybe by going to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, we've got the Duckling program for new runners to get their feet wet. Literally, that's why it's called that. And you can join. You can pick up easy races, easy flag sets to start learning the ins and outs of the game. And we will have the Duckling Derby coming up as sort of the next featured event shortly after the spring tournament wraps. Once our organizers can take a breather and switch gears to organizing that. So look out.
Otherwise, big thanks to everyone who made this happen. I know there are a lot of people had to help out to this show tonight, but it was entertaining for the fans.
Yeah, and I'm sure they appreciate all the gratitude there, Guelph. Thank you for joining us here in the booth. It's the end of our broadcast, as we've gone quite late and it's midnight over on the East Coast, past midnight over on the East Coast. So any last thoughts as you leave the tournament here?
Like I said earlier, I'm happy with as far as I got and looking forward to watching the real good players play.
Hey, yeah, everyone's real here. Everyone tried hard and played super well. So with that, my co-commentator Ilmars Ibermuller, do you have any final thoughts on this madness of an LCQ?
This was probably everything everyone could have hoped for from a viewer's standpoint. This was fantastic. A big thank you to everybody who was a part of every single stream across all 5 networks. To Magius and MG Weirdo in the background tracking for us, keeping us on our toes. Join the Discord, give everybody a follow, to all the runners who did this today, and the few people in the background, to Wout, Danny, Caleb, people who have been putting on and organizing all of this. Massive appreciation to them. Without the hard work and dedication of them, none of this happens. So thank you to all of them, and get ready for the finals that are coming up in the playoffs. This is going to be fantastic the rest of the way.
Yeah, seconded on all those thanks. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. Lastly, again, you can go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com to get started. That also has a link to our Discord. You can check us out on YouTube by looking for Final Fantasy Randomizer. We also have all these wonderful runners on stream, some of whom unfortunately it was a bit too late and they could not interview with us. You can follow their streams. They play FFR as well as other games. You can follow the crew and commentary. And I think that's it for you. So be on the lookout for the play-in race, which is the next stage before the brackets to get scheduled. That'll be Earth Flags, 16 runners, the top 8 will advance. So until we see you then, thank you for watching the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament 2020.